And when you live in that shadow, you're also living in that shame. And when you're living in shame, you could never be yourself. Welcome to the Black Mother Wound podcast, where we center the stories of Black women as we heal from the painful relationships with our mothers. Welcome to the Black Mother Wound podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Arnice. What is up, y'all? How are y'all doing? This is the fourth and final episode of the January New Year reset. Okay. And if you're listening and not watching, I'm still in the bed. This is the last week of recording in the bed. I have really loved it, but hey, we're going to go back to our regular scheduled program after this. But I have loved the impact of me being in the bed has played on you all, because for the people who are watching, you've emailed me, you DM'd me, I've been reading your comments, and I try to reply to as many comments as I can. I really do, but it's a lot of comments across all of the videos on my YouTube channel. So if I have not responded to a comment of yours, I apologize. I try to read them all. I try to respond to them all, and I can't do it. I try. I'm going to keep doing my best, but it doesn't mean that I don't see you and that you're not valued in this community. So I'm just going to let y'all just drop that there, because sometimes I feel so guilty because I'll be up late at night scrolling through comments, trying to respond in YouTube, and I can't get to all of them. But yes, I see you. I hear you. I love you. I appreciate you. I really, really do. So like the kind words y'all say to me, the way you all validate me and encourage me and like just let me know that I'm on the right track and that you get it, because I be feeling too like nobody's going to understand what the hell I'm talking about. So the fact that y'all get it and that you're there and that it's helping, don't get me to crying. It's too early in the episode to start crying, so I'm not even going to go there right now. But yeah, I really appreciate it. But as far as me being in the bed, what I really wanted to show myself is, and show y'all, is about this whole concept around like you being, it's not even a concept. You being yourself is good enough. And the most rested, the most comfortable, the most stress-free, at ease version of you is valuable. It is productive. It is understandable. It is acceptable. That's really what I wanted to get across. And I needed it for myself too. I don't know if I said this in one of the previous episodes over the last few weeks. I may have put it in my vlog. If you are not watching my vlog and you want to see the happy side of healing and how we kiki, please watch the vlogs. Okay. They're starting to get more regular. They were like once a month and they were like every other week. Now they kind of sort of once a week, but I'm going to be on once a week coming up like ASAP. Okay. So today's Tuesday. One probably, well, I know one will come out this week. But anyway, y'all know I got the attention span of a squirrel. Lord, forgive me. But I took back to what I was saying. I don't know if I mentioned this in between the vlog and one of the episodes. I took my desk out of my air quote office because I was like, I don't like working behind my desk. It makes me feel tired. And I'm like, why does it make me feel tired? It's not convenient. Doesn't help me stay more organized. It drains me because I'm not being who I need to be, and not being yourself drains the fuck out of you. Okay. And we don't even know it because we've been not being ourselves for so long that we don't even know we don't know anything else. Right. Speaking of, I'm going to post it up here. If you're watching in the YouTube, should be something popping up on the screen now. A video I did last week about us being able to be ourselves. And if you're listening to this, I'll put the link in the show notes so you can watch that video. It's like 8 minutes, but it goes into more detail about that. But this idea around, what it means to be professional, what it means to be trustworthy, and for people to take you serious, what it has to look like. And I just need to completely like turn that on its ear. And that's what being in the bed this past 4 weeks and recording has done for me, right? I know I've talked about it, but the fact that y'all got it, I love y'all for that. I love it. I love it. So yeah. What else has been going on? January has been pretty cool. I'm still taking my swim lessons and I'm getting better. I can actually swim. It's not a pretty swim. It's not that Michael Phelps swim, which is what I want to get to, but I can swim in the water. I can like breathe out in the water, turn my head to the side, breathe out and keep on going. Again, it's not the prettiest. But I can do that. I can do a backstroke. I'm much more comfortable in the water. I'm more comfortable getting my face wet and like blowing out in the water because I was so afraid of like getting water in my nose and choking and drowning and dying. I was real dramatic about it. And now it is like a playground. I am having a fucking ball. You understand me? I'm having such a ball. What else has been happening? I started working with a hypnotherapist. And I had my first official hypnosis session yesterday, and it was really amazing. That's something I've been wanting to do for a long time. And it, to me, healing is self-mastery. And I'm a huge believer in investing in yourself, all the things. So for me, self-care is not like just my nails, my hair, my feet. Self-care for me is how I take care of my mind, how I'm growing, how I can become the version of me that I know I am, the version of me that I saw and knew and experienced as a really young little girl, me getting back to her. And I am all about pouring into myself that way and finding community and trying new things. Like for me, that is very exciting. So that was really good. What else is going on? I think that's pretty much about it. It's been a quiet January, which is good. I'm making lots of travel plans. That's another thing I want to do is to get out and get going and get moving more this year. Last year, it was really about saving up to buy my house. So I was like, boo, you can't do both. You're going to have to sit down, like all the way down, like Indian style on the floor. Okay. And cover your eyes and your ears so you don't even see what everybody else is doing. Okay. But this year, I want to be outside. So we got a couple things planned. We already got tickets to go see Alvin Ailey in March. And we're going to, me and one of my homegirls, we're going to Puerto Rico in February. So it feels good to be doing things. It feels so good to be living the life like that I dreamed about 3, 4, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, to be doing things now. So I'm very excited about that. And it's crazy because I'm kind of talking kind of slow about it because I almost feel like I shouldn't be talking about it because I was raised that if you share good things happening, one, you're going to jinx yourself and they're not going to happen. And people are not going to be happy for you. And it's like you're bragging and you're like, trying to be high on your horse or something like that. And I have to get past that. You know what I mean? Like, y'all know I'm still healing forever and ever and ever. And this is me practicing that. Like, no, I want to talk about things. If y'all know, I tell y'all about the fucked up stuff. It's only fair that we share the good things as well. So yeah, okay. I think that's about it. I hope y'all are doing well, of course. And in this final episode of the New Year Reset, what I want to talk about, and I think all of this everything I've been saying kind of plays into that. And it is, again, I feel like might be a little heavier talk today, but we need it. I don't want to say I saved the best for last, but this is something that is an integral piece to your healing and to you resetting this year, because it's going to define how you see yourself, and how you see yourself is everything. Everything is dependent on how you see yourself. And so I'm going to talk about how the relationship with your mother does not define you. You might be defining yourself by that, but it is not how you are defined. If someone was to look you up in the dictionary, the definition of you would not be the girl who had a bad or horrible, challenging relationship with her mother, who didn't have support, who went through it alone, who had to kind of fight against her family because nobody believed her and she had to get it out the mud. That is not the definition of who you are. And when you've lived with a mother wound, it can feel like you are defined by that because so much of your life is impacted by it. And you're like, if I didn't have this thing, if I had a better relationship with my mother or my grandmother or the women in my family, I would have this life. But because of this hardship and these challenges, my life looks like this. And I've been defined by it. And I have to move within the confines of it. Right. And that's kind of my cross to bear. And it's not true. Okay. It's not true. I will say that it is integral in shaping you, but it is not the final word. It is not the totality of who you are. And it's very, very important that you step back and you take a real honest assessment of how you define yourself in terms of having a difficult or challenging relationship with your mother, right? And how you let that lead you in your decisions, what that looks like in how you treat yourself, how you see the world, what you think is possible for you. Like really a real honest assessment of that. Because, and I have my notes here, because this will help me stay on track, because y'all know how my mind goes. You really are more than her daughter, right? I am my mother's daughter, but I am more than that. And I talk to my clients and my students a lot about this energetic umbilical cord. And I think I've talked about it in some previous episodes, where our mother really is the center of everything for us, good or bad. And in that way, she becomes our source, because as a child, she is our source, right? Source of safety and food and care and protection and guidance. And we keep that perspective even as we grow into women. Okay. And that energetic umbilical cord has been there forever, and is where we expect to get all those things. It is where our mental, emotional, spiritual sustenance comes from. And healing is all about your own autonomy, your own authority, building a healthy relationship with yourself, right? That means you have to clip that energetic umbilical cord and be self-sustaining and be able to feed yourself. What happens is so many women I talk to, they don't even know who they are outside of that relationship. They don't know what they like, what they don't like. They don't know when they're angry or sad or happy. It's almost like they've become a shadow of their mother, a shadow of that relationship. And when you're in that state, you have no control over your life. You have no real, I think about a horse having a harness around it and being able to wield that horse and tell it where to go and get it to speed up or slow down. You don't have that when your view of yourself and your identity is locked in on being your mother's daughter, and also the identity of who she says you are, right? And then it's like, well, it's not just her. She got my whole family thinking that way. Everybody thinks I'm this person. And because we feel a sense of, I want to say, indebtedness, because that's, we think about the hierarchy in a family unit. It's like you have a place in this family. You have a role and you will play your role in this family. That is your duty. And it's like, it's an act of treason and betrayal when you break out of that. But that is the only way that you can heal. You have to create your own sense of self and your own identity. And it has to be outside of the relationship you have with your mother and who your mother and your immediate community, how they see you, right? And when you live in that shadow, you're also living in that shame. And when you're living in shame, you can never be yourself. You can never have community. You could have success, but you will never be able to feel it and embody it and know it because you're walking around thinking that you're broken and something is wrong with you. So these are things you really have to be on the lookout for, right? And so I'm trying to really think about the best way to kind of guide you through this, because, okay, we know what I don't want you to do, but what I do want you to do is begin to define who you are for yourself. And some of you are doing that, but you don't even know it, right? So as I talk, I want you to be congratulating yourselves in the ways that you are defining yourself, even if they're in small ways, right? And this has nothing to do with I'm contact or no contact with my mother. This is not about physical proximity or how often you talk to her. It's like, well, I ain't talked to my mother in 10 years, so I know I'm not defining myself by her. Ma'am, you might be. This isn't about that. Okay, that's why I call it an energetic umbilical cord. It's greater than the last time you talked to her. It's have you made the conscious, consistent, intentional decisions around creating a life that is built on you, that is centered around you. And if you are not doing that, then your identity is based on somebody else. It's not based on you. And this really can be, it doesn't have to be, I don't want to say a laborious or like a heavy task. I want you to look at it as something fun. I want you to look at it from a space of discovery, exploration, and experimentation, right? Who am I? What do I like? Let's try things. Let's find out. Let's put ourselves in different situations where we don't know what's going to happen. For some of y'all, that can be hard. It can be challenging because you want to make sure that it's going to work out. You want to make sure you don't make a fool of yourself and you're not humiliated and all that kind of stuff. But that is going to be the work for you. It's going to be like, I don't give a fuck. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to jump. I'm going to leap. I'm going to ask, right? I'm going to try. That is what it takes to define yourself until you start to tap on something that clicks, that works. And you're like, oh, that is my thing, right? Because the little girl in you, she's going to be participating and she's going to be guiding you as long as you are listening. And she'll be like, oh, that's something I've always wanted to do. Like me learning to swim. I get emotional talking about it because I really do feel like it's the greatest thing I have ever done. It's like one of the best decisions. I want to say it's the best decision I've ever made. But I'm like, oh, I've made some other really good decisions. But when I think about the impact on my life, it's like outside of deciding and having my son, it's like, this is life changing. And I'm like, why is swimming life changing? For someone else, it might not be but for my own identity, for who I truly, truly am, swimming and being in the water is huge for me. Right. And I know if I was in other relationships with people and probably still depending on the identity of being my mother's daughter, I would not be swimming. I would not be taking the swim lessons because I would think that it's frivolous. It wouldn't be something that she would think is all that special. You know what I mean? And if she didn't give it her thumbs up or stamp of approval, I wouldn't trust myself. I wouldn't trust my own wanting. Right. And my mind is thinking now like, well, damn, isn't that sad that she wouldn't be? And I have to it's like, no, it's not sad that she wouldn't be because it's not a vision for her. She doesn't see it. The sadness is that I don't advocate for myself. The sadness is if I was to be living a life where I didn't do the things that really brought me joy because I was looking for them to bring somebody else joy. What's up, boo? Sorry to interrupt the episode. I just wanted to let you know my 6-week Black Mother Wound Healing Intensive starts again in January. Listen, we are not carrying this mother wound burden into 2025, okay? It's done, it's played out, and it is out of style. But you know what is in style? Learning to love yourself completely. Knowing you're worth it without working for it, putting yourself first without feeling guilty about it, and trusting yourself without asking everybody else what they think you should be doing. So if you're ready for this life-changing transformation, click the link below so you don't miss out. And as always, we're all in this together. That is fucking sad. That's the sad part. And boy, there's a list accumulating in my head right now of the relationships I've been in where the choices I have made were about them being happy and not me. Boy, now that make my blood boil right now. Okay. But when you start to really get consistent about building a relationship with yourself, there is an exploratory period. And that's what I want you to be in right now. That's the point of this episode for this reset. It is exploring your own life so you can know you are more than your mother's daughter, that your identity is outside of that doesn't have to be the corner spoke in a conversation when you're meeting someone new or you're getting to know someone or the topic comes up about Mother's Day or I went to my mom's house and this and that and me and my mom did this and did that. Because people always want to ask me like, what do you say when those conversations come up? Because you feel like the spotlight is on you, even though it's not. And you don't want people to know or feel a certain way if they hear that you have you're not close with your mother. You don't say shit. There's other things to talk about. It's not the center of getting to know you. It's not all that you are. There are other conversations people have where you don't have any input and they're like, you know what? They're all talking about stocks and bonds and I don't know stocks and bonds. Right. So you just remove yourself from that conversation or you be quiet. Same thing when they're talking about parents and moms and all that kind of stuff. You don't have anything to say. Go on about your damn way. Because you have an identity outside of that, right? And you don't have to answer the question. You don't have to be involved. You don't have to give context and make people understand and all that kind of shit. You don't have to do any of that, right? You don't have to be that for anyone because that's not who you are. But when you really are establishing your real identity, it doesn't even faze you, really. You're like, oh, next, right? But in order to get there, you have to be exploring, right? Healing is really about playfulness. Okay. There's a meme on, or like a little quote on Instagram that I see. And it's like the opposite of depression is not happiness. The opposite of depression is like expression, right? And expression is playfulness. And I think that we look at that as something that's frivolous. I know I was taught it was something frivolous. But when it comes to healing, building a relationship with yourself and exposing your inner little girl, right? And letting her be free, you have to play. And it's like, it seems so simple. It is, but it's not easy because your mind is going to be telling you your mama wouldn't like that. You're going to be hearing the voice. I haven't heard my actual mother's voice in a decade, but baby, I be hearing it. I be hearing it in my head, and I have to have, boy, I got to have something ready for it when it comes because it's very sure and it's very certain and it's very convinced. And without my own self being defined, without being defined for myself, I would crumble under that voice. And a lot of you are still crumbling under that voice, even if you don't have contact with her. Right? And the way you do that is by getting to know yourself. It's like take your lived experiences and create a story. Because you are in there, even if you don't, so often I hear, well, I don't know where to start. I don't hear anything. I don't see anything. I've been shut down for so long. You have to mine. Here I am talking about that mining again. You know how you mine for joy? Mining for who you are through your life experiences. It takes time, getting settled, getting still, lighting a candle, eating good, cleaning your body, turning off all the noise, getting off your phone, and starting to take a little bit at a time each day, sifting through a memory, looking at a picture. What was happening there? Something that resonates with you, like paying a fucking attention. Pay attention to your life. Pay attention to the things that catch your eye and stop minimizing them and stop turning them off and stop, stop turning everything back into a sad story. We all have them. But every time you do that, you squash a part of yourself and you go back to this old definition of who you are as so-and-so's daughter. And you're more than that. And this has to be a consistent practice. It has to be a consistent practice. What else do I have in my notes here? Oh, people are going to come up against this. Don't let anyone I have not heard. Always put the church in there because it's real. Okay. The church, your family, your community, people who knew you then. Don't let anyone try to tell you who you are, why you were away, what somebody is going to think about that, what she's going to think about those things. You have to be vigilant. Okay. You have to be vigilant. And this is your time. Again, this is why community is a pillar of reparenting, because you want to get around people who know another version of you. They know the creative version. They know the funny version. They know the active version, the adventurous version, the smart version, the ambitious version, the playful, soft. That person is in there. And that's why you need to be building with those people so they can reflect back who you really are. So when you open the dictionary and there's a picture of you, it's like, oh, wow, this warm, witty, smart, funny woman, caring, intuitive, adventurous, careful, whatever it is. And it's really important that you can see who you are and know who you are. So there's no mistaking, because when you know who you are, it settles you, it grounds you, right? It's where you can have true happiness, true confidence, where you can build the best relationships. But it starts in that being rooted. For those of you who feel like you have never belonged, right? This is how you create that belonging. In knowing you are more than the daughter. Because this also will teach you that you're more than a mother. You're more than a wife. You're more than a friend. Like, who you are is not defined by the relationships you have with others. Who you are is defined by the relationship you have with yourself. And that's great, because you get to decide that. You have ultimate power and ultimate control over that. Okay? I guess that's all I have today. I feel like I've went on a rant as always. This is your life, and you get to do with it what you want. And the guilt will come up. It doesn't mean that you are guilty. The feelings of discomfort will come up. The feelings of fear will come up. Remember, I say feelings of fear. It doesn't mean you're in real danger, but those things will come up. I want you to make friends with those emotions. Recognize them. Understand them. They might be, right now they live in your house. You want to get them to where they're neighbors across the street, to the point where then, okay, you move even further away from those emotions and they way across town. You don't even see them. You might catch a glimpse of them in Target every now and then, but you can keep going. But don't let those emotions of fear, shame, guilt, intrepidness, anxiousness stop you from exploring who you are, because I guarantee you are safe. You are safe to do this. This is a whole new world. Okay? It's a whole new world, and you deserve it. So that's all I have for you today. I'll see you next week. Take care of yourself. Do what's best for you. If you're watching this, subscribe, like, comment, share. If you're listening to the audio version, I love y'all too. Come on over to the YouTube world and check out my vlog. And I will see everybody next week. Bye.